been certified only in Pakistan, and they make about 70% of the world's soccer balls when they're like high quality. So we kind of had no option there, to be honest. It was like Pakistan, there's about 200 factories and only 5 that are fair trade certified. So that's how we ended up in Pakistan. And then we do have the ability to scale. We started with 1 factory for the first 4 years, and then recently we started working with a second factory that kind of has the ability to scale and grow if some of those should start tweeting at Dix and see if we can get that phone call.
So, like, what channels or techniques did you find the most effective to like tell your story about like soccer balls and stuff?
Yeah, I think YouTube is a place where we can make short videos and add value to people. You know, we did also, like, you never know what's going to work. So we had this great video that we did with me being in Pakistan for 2 weeks, going to the workers' homes, eating with them. And then it ended up being, I think we have about maybe 5,000 views right now. It's about 10 minutes, it's a little long. We did the trailer that you saw, that was 2,000. That's on YouTube. And then one day I was with a friend who loves futsal and knows a lot about the game. And I pulled out I think it was my iPhone 4 at the time. And I just did short videos of him talking about what makes a futsal ball low bounce, what are the regulations, some of the introduction, how to play the game with my iPhone 4, uploaded to YouTube. I think today we have almost 10,000 views on that video. So YouTube really allows us to tell a story and also create value for consumers that are looking at how to play futsal, how to play street soccer, how to buy a good soccer ball. Facebook is tricky for businesses because right now if you don't pay, it's almost impossible for you to get in front of people who like your page. Because just Facebook changed their algorithm and they want companies to pay, so they kind of get, oh yeah, free for all, build your likes and all that, and we'll show your post to them. And then once we were all like investing in the channel, they're like, okay, by the way, now if you want your post to appear, you're gonna have to pay, which kind of makes sense. I understand what the reason why they do it, but it's kind of tricky to connect with them on Facebook unless you're willing to pay. I think blogs, being able to have content on your blog that's relevant and that's interesting, I think that's a good way to connect with consumers. We're still learning that, and feel free to join us next semester as an intern and help us to answer this question. We'll answer it together.
Have you gotten like Snapchat and stuff? Like
Snapchat we did a little bit. Now we're kind of more on Instagram. Again, going back to focus, I think that's one of the things that Giselle helped us, is like you have Pinterest, you have Snapchat, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have YouTube, and it's like 2 people full time and then 5, 6 interns. Like, how are you going to serve all this well? And we look kind of our personas and the target that we're going after, millennials more 25 to 30, and we found that the Snapchat population was more like teenagers and kind of a little of a younger one. We felt that we could communicate better with that demographic, 25 to 30-year-old, on Instagram, which pretty much copies Snapchat now with their stories, and with Facebook, as opposed to stretching ourselves too thin and trying to be on too many channels and not really be able to post content consistently.
How did you come up with the name? Or what's the significance of the name?
Yeah, so I grew up, like I said, in Buenos Aires, Argentina. We speak Spanish, and senda is a word that's a little bit like older Spanish. Not many people use the word senda. It means path. So for us, senda represents a path to improve people's lives through sports. And it includes the people that we serve with our nonprofits, like people in wheelchairs. We also have 2 other nonprofits that I didn't mention that you can check out on our website. Street Soccer USA, that works with people that are homeless, that are getting off the streets to soccer, getting back into the routine and getting off drugs. So soccer can be their path to improve their lives. And we also work with Soccer Without Borders, that works with refugees and immigrants that arrive in the United States. Oakland actually has one of the highest populations of immigrants per capita in the world, and a lot of people come here and they don't speak the language, they do not know any people, they don't have friends. So these nonprofits, Soccer Without Borders, gives them the chance to play soccer, and in order for them to be able to play soccer, they have to be enrolled in high school and have an above C grade GPA. So for us, soccer can be a path for those refugees to find a better life in the US, to graduate high school. So that's why we chose the name Senda. And I think we should find a way to tell that story better. Really, for us, it comes down a lot what we've seen to better storytelling. The product is there, we've matched the quality that we need to do to compete in the market. I think right now our biggest struggle is marketing. How do you break through the noise? How do you get consumers to find out about you? There's 25 million people who play soccer in the US. There's 4 or 5 million people that are registered that play in the league. So there's no shortage of people, but those people are mostly glued to the TV, like watching big games. So how do we break? One of the things that we're discussing is like, how can we do guerrilla marketing? How can we find innovative, creative ways to break through the noise and to break through, the Facebook feed, the tweet, or YouTube, so that people find out about us and find it interesting. And that's kind of our next step, storytelling. And that's what we're excited to get some people from the industry that have more experience. I'm an econ major. I studied economics, so I'm not going to be the one that's going to come up with the great marketing campaign that we need to get in front of people. I think it's being consistent right now and trying to touch people in 2 or 3 social media channels, and then bring people that can help us with storytelling that's compelling, that's unique, and that's different. Yes.
Have you tried like partnering with like professional players to get the like for advertising reasons and stuff like that?
Well, if you were to go with professional players, you're competing with the large brands that have a ton of money. And a lot of these professional players, they make a lot of money from there. So for them to say like, hey, we don't have the budget, like, hey, would you help us out? It's kind of hard for them to do. So we've done with kind of like some like less known players. We've done some testing, and it's something that we're looking at. But what we want to do really is just disrupt the industry and change the rules of the game. If we play the game with the rules that the big brands have, high marketing budgets, hire professionals, pay a lot of money to endorse teams and players, we're never going to win at that game. But if we change the idea, we talk about these nonprofits and the people who work on them being the other heroes of the game, and we can shed the light on other people and say like, hey, this is how the entire soccer industry works, but look, there's this other universe with street soccer and with nonprofits using soccer to improve their communities and with fair trade. Now we're changing the rules and we can be the best at that. But trying to follow the model of the mainstream industry right now, it would be kind of challenging.
What about focusing on like freestylers or something?
Great idea. We're working on the freestyle. That's why we're so excited about the street ball. Yes, that is a phenomenal kind of avenue for us to explore, and it kind of goes with what we are. We're about creativity, playing on the streets, playing anywhere. So freestylers and people who do tricks and that kind of express themselves through the game, that's a great channel for us to kind of work on and what we're trying to break into. How about people ideas? Like how many of you would like to maybe start your own business one day? Raise your hand, don't be shy. What are some of the ideas that people have? One of the other things to kind of not worry too much about, people like, oh, I'm afraid of telling somebody my idea because I'm afraid they will steal it. Honestly, ideas are a penny each. It's all about execution and being able to follow through. So maybe in the beginning, I'm like, oh, I don't want to tell people what I'm doing. Honestly, like, go ahead. This is so hard. Be my guest, Like, even as I get competitors, I'm like, oh, and people are like, oh, are you worried about competitors? Like, no, they validate the space, and this stuff is so hard that, I think it's going to be very hard for anybody to succeed here as well. So I don't protect my ideas as much before at this stage. Like, so if anybody wants to share the idea, what are people thinking about? Maybe something like that, like, oh, I would like to start a company in this space, or this is an idea, this is an unmet need that I've had. Anybody feels like sharing?
Come on, people. I know some of you have businesses. Who has a business? Some people?
No? You've never been like, oh man, one day I keep finding this problem. Somebody just came out with a $150 coffee mug to keep your coffee hot, and they're going to sell it in like 250 Starbucks to start off. So $150 smart coffee mug. Somebody saw that people were upset about their coffee getting cold, so they started like, what are some of either ideas that you had or pain points that you see in the market today? Yeah.
Well, that was a complete joke, but I had to do in high school for a project, and I did cupcakes, which are like cupcakes for dogs. So.
Cupcake for dogs? There we go. I mean, the pet market is a $30 billion market.
Yeah.
So if you can disrupt that market, and people love spending money on their dogs, and cupcakes are fashionable and they're everywhere. So, yeah, you'll be amazed by the type of idea that you say like, wow, this works.
People actually
Yeah.
Me and my friend just entered a business contest, but I'm studying food systems here, so our idea was like a farmer's market on wheels, like a food truck kind of, and we'd pick up produce from leftover farmers markets that would otherwise be thrown away, and from farmers who can sell it, and then go into areas in Oakland where people don't have access to fresh produce, and then sell it at like reduced price.
Yeah, I love that idea. And the question, like, how do you scale it, right? Like, do you start with a franchise? Maybe you find local entrepreneurs that they run it themselves, so maybe it's a local person that knows everybody in the community. But that, yeah, there's an unmet need, right? Like, you got people who are throwing away produce or not selling it, people who are in food deserts that have maybe 4 liquor stores in 3 miles, or maybe in 1 mile, but no access to food. I love that idea. Maybe like franchise it. That could be something really cool to kind of like try to franchise it. And I think that's a problem that's not only unique to Oakland. I think you could go anywhere. Like, can you franchise it? Can you find a local entrepreneur in Oakland, very low cost, manufacture the bicycles, maybe recycle a bicycle? Like, that's great. Yeah.
This is just an idea that me and some people entered into Big Ideas, but it's a mobile journaling app for, like, mainly it's targeted for student athletes to like improve like mental health.
Okay.
Where you kind of reflect on a number of things, and for example, with my soccer team we have something called Fit for 90 where we report every day like how we're feeling, a bunch of different things, how much we slept.
Awesome.
But this is, so that's like, I guess you could say competition, but we want to make it so that coaches can view it on like an aggregate level, so that helps with honesty, because that's one of the problems with Fit for 90, where people don't want to be honest about how much they slept or how they're feeling, because you don't want the coach knowing that you went out the night before or something like that.
So this would be something that will be anonymous?
Yeah, that's one of the ideas. Or like you have the choice of whether you want the coach to see it or something, because that helps that issue. It's just like one of the parts of it, but it's just like we have like a prototype of the app, but
That's
it's just
great.
an idea that we submitted into Big Ideas.
Yeah, I love it. And maybe eventually we could start with sports, kind of like Facebook, right? It started just with one market, it was like college students, and then you test it there, you kind of serve that population really well, and maybe it could be something that you do for a company, right? Like sometimes I wonder a lot, like I see, like I come on a Monday, I'm like, oh, people seem kind of down, like what's going on, and then, you know, like you don't really know what's happening. So if people had a way to kind of express like, hey, something just happened, I'm not having a good week, they're like, okay, it's an easier way for me to know. And if you could know that across thousands of employees, and maybe kind of understand the mood of the company and the mood of the people that you work with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
things like that, and just like habit tracking, like develop